Hello everyone, let's start with what we left in the previous lecture. In the previous lecture we had covered that what according to Aristotle are the classifications and what form of government he considers to be the best out of monarchy, oligarchy, democracy, tyranny, right? Now here is a graph, Aristotle's government graph, wherein it's given the two constitutions aim for the common good, as we have done the true government and the perverted form of government, so as the true constitution which is for the common good, that means good of the public at large, और public कौन सी जो उस nation में रह रही हैं. So royalty, aristocracy and constitutional government. When royalty becomes perverted, then it gets into tyranny form of government. When aristocracy gets converted, gets perverted, then it is oligarchy. Means when aristocracy is ruled by some people, right? So when aristocracy gets perverted, it is oligarchy form of government. When constitutional form of government gets perverted, then it becomes democracy. Perverted constitutions aim for the well-being of a part of the city. Part of the city can be the high class people, the rich people, okay? In the modern times, another writer, Burgess, suggested 4 principles of distinction on the forms of government. On the basis of identity or non-identity of state with its government, primary or representative form of government. On the basis of tenure of executive, hereditary or elective form of government. So Burgess is another political writer who suggested that there could be 4 principles or 4 grounds of distinction. Distinction of what? Of the forms of government. The first ground was identity of the state with its government, okay? Second was what is the tenure of the executive, means for what time it is framing the laws or for what time it is in power. If it is hereditary, then it will be always in power, right? Ruler का बेटा बनेगा, फिर उसका बेटा बनेगा, so that particular family will only be having the power for so long. Elective form of government, if it is, then it will be changing in certain periods of time. Third ground is on the basis of relationship between executive and legislature, parliamentary or presidential form of government. Parliamentary form of government in which parliament takes the decision, it frames the laws. Presidential form of government in which the president is the supreme head and he frames the laws. Okay, on the basis of concentration and distribution of powers, unitary or federal government. Unitary government is when there is a central control over the whole nation. Like if in India only the central government is controlling the whole of India directly, then it will be unitary government. But what is in India instead is there are different states and each state has its own government, right? हर state के पास अपनी एक state government है और फिर central में एक union government है. So this form of governance which is in India at present is federal government. I hope you understand now. Stephen Lecoq presented simplified version of classification of government. On the basis of location of sovereign power, government is classified into dictatorship and democracy. So please remember that who classified government on the basis of what, because earlier we studied about Burgess, then earlier we studied about Aristotle, and now it is Stephen Lecoq who presented versions. A simplified version it is considered to be regarding classification of government. So on the basis of location of sovereign power, means sovereignty, you know that we also did in the previous chapter in the unit or in the part wherein we were discussing about the different elements of state. We have studied about sovereignty as well in that. So on the basis of sovereignty, that which part of government is having sovereign power, on the basis of that government is classified into dictatorship or democracy. On the basis of method of acquiring power by head of the state means the type and amount of power which is held by the head of the state. On the basis of that, government is classified into constitutional monarchy and republic. Constitutional monarchy means there would be a constitution, there would be a monarch, and monarch will be ruling the nation. Obviously, if it's the ruler or a queen that is monarch, then there would be certain people or few people only that will be holding the power. Head of the state will be the ruler or the monarch, and there would also be a constitution which will be governing the rule of the monarch. Okay, and republic is obviously India, wherein head of the state is president, and he only has the power to sign on decrees or order. Nominal head is the president, and prime minister is the head of the council of ministers, and he rules the government, union government. On the basis of relation between executive and legislative, democratic government is divided into two: parliamentary and presidential form of government. So when it is seen that what is the relationship between two organs of the government, that are executive and legislature, then the form of government is divided into two, and that obviously is democracy. But that democracy is classified into two, that is parliamentary and presidential form of government. I think in the previous lecture or so, or in this lecture itself, I have told you what is parliamentary and presidential form of government. On the basis of distribution of power between center and province, unitary and federal government, that also I have told you. This is the flow chart or the analytical approach of the classification that we have just studied. Now let's come on to monarchy, that will be in detail. Monarchy is the oldest form of government. State machinery worked according to commands and rules of the monarch. As I said, monarchy, in which there is a person who rules over the government, and all the powers that how will the administration be carried out, all that powers are under that monarch only, and that the ruler under the monarchy system of government is called monarch. Okay, and he only has the absolute power. Monarchy is a form of political regime in which the supreme and final authority is in the hands of a single person wearing a crown, irrespective of whether his office is hereditary or elective. That means whether he is elected by the people or he has come to the throne by heredity, doesn't matter. If he is the monarch or if he is the ruler, then absolute and final power will be in his hands only. Okay, it is the will of one person which prevails in all matters of governance. J.W. Garner stated, in its widest sense, any government in which supreme and final authority is in hands of a single person is monarchy, without regard to source of his election or nature and duration of his tenure. It doesn't matter that how he has come to that throne. It doesn't matter that for how much time or for how many years will he be sitting on the throne and he will be taking the decisions. But monarchy is one in which the ruler has the supreme and absolute authority, and obviously ruler is a single person, so in the single person only has all the powers to rule. In this sense, it is immaterial whether his office is conferred by election or derived by hereditary succession, or whether he bears the title of emperor, king, czar, president or dictator. Whatever title the people may give him, that he is the Hitler, he is the emperor, he is king, doesn't matter. He had come to the throne by election or hereditary succession, doesn't matter. Okay? As we did in the previous paragraph, same thing is written. It is fact that will of one man ultimately prevails in all matters of government, which gives it the character of monarchy. With the development of republican and democratic form of government, monarchical form of government declined. When republican and democratic forms came up, people, that is the common citizens of the country, they liked these two form of governments more, because in these they have a say. They can criticize the policies of government, or in these the distribution of power was among various people, not confined to hands of a single person. So the citizens liked these types of governments in which the welfare of the common public was also considered. So monarchical system slowly declined. In some cases, as in UK, monarchs are merely retained as ceremonial or nominal heads of government, devoid of key political powers. Key political powers means main political powers. Like UK, Boris Johnson is its president, and the Queen is there in UK. Hereditary system is going on there also, but she is just the nominal or ceremonial head. All the decisions are taken by Boris Johnson or its parliament for the people, and the Queen only signs it. Queen cannot, she can refuse, but till now there is no decline of any bill that has come to her for her signature. So she just consents to it, she just signs it, and then it becomes a law. Otherwise, she has no say in how the governance is taking place. Just the case is that she is the ceremonial head of the country, wherein the hereditary system is going on in her family as well. As observed by C.C. Roddy, constitutional monarchs are loved and respected by the people as symbols of unity of nation or empire, but are devoid of political power. The monarchs which work or who work under the control of the constitution, on over which constitution controls them, right? So those types of monarchs are loved and respected by the people, but they have a very limited power in their hands as compared to the dictators or the monarchs in which they have no constitution to govern upon themselves as well. So constitutional monarchs are loved, respected by the people, but they don't have as many wide powers as the other simple monarchs have. Okay, so this is all for today's lecture. Less rest, we will be continuing in further videos. Thank you.